Hi everyone, this is Migs from Sneaks and Ball PH, and once again I'm with Coach Carl and with Dom, our resident sports analyst. We just got done with Game 4 of the NBA Finals with the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers won 102 to 96. It was a very hard-fought ball game, typical of the NBA Finals. Kind of low scoring, both teams shooting under 45% from the field. LeBron had 28, 12, and 8. Anthony Davis chipped in with 22. Jimmy Butler, he didn't have the same game as he did in Game 3. But nobody really expected that because that was probably the best game he's played. So he went a little bit more, back down to earth in Game 4. But I was wondering what your biggest takeaways were. So we'll start with you, Coach Carl. What was your biggest takeaway from Game 4 of the NBA Finals?
Like we expected, if Bam played, which he did, the game would be much closer because he would provide extra rim protection. However, the downfall is similar to how they played in game 2 with game 3 when he was out. They went out, attacked switches, and then kicked it out to open shots. This time with Bam playing, it did not help as much because you could not get enough room or a lot of room since Bam would clog up inside. He is much of a jump shooter or three-point shooter yet. Hence why LeBron and AD were taking turns in terms of guarding them up in the goals and with that.
That is very true. Like Bam is your all-star, so you need him. But there are certain things schematically that you can do with Olynyk, you can't do with Bam, and vice versa. You can have Bam bring up the ball. He had a couple good drives a while ago with some end ones. He did look pretty fresh for the most part. But I think a factor in this was also the defensive adjustment by the Lakers. So Dom, I'm gonna ask you, how did you find what the Lakers did, which is pretty much put Anthony Davis on Jimmy Butler, and then the one who was checking Bam Adebayo was LeBron James. So I wonder what your thoughts were on that adjustment in particular.
Well, I guess it's a major adjustment from Game 3, which was where Jimmy Butler had most of his points in the paint. He was just finding his way inside and just having his way. So the adjustment the Lakers decided to make was to put a big body just to prevent Jimmy Butler from getting into the paint. So they would actually live with him taking the three, which is actually, it could be a smart decision given the situation. So I feel like that was a good adjustment to make.
One other thing, he really wasn't attempting the threes that they were giving him, which I think he should just, he should do a little bit of that, because that's how they played LeBron also. They would go way under the screen. Like if they were setting a screen, the Heat players would show, and then Jimmy Butler would go under, like way under the screen, but he did knock down 2 threes in the third quarter. So I think Jimmy should have at least shot some of them, just, to make them respect him from the three a little bit more. He just seemed very hesitant. It kind of may be that mental thing where you're left so open, because that can happen when you're left so open. You're just overthinking yourself from the outside. But he really was not as big of a factor. He did chip in a really good all-around performance. He almost got another triple-double. But if they are to go anywhere, Jimmy has to score anywhere from 30 to 40 points for them to have a chance. So do you think he'll be able to do that in Game 5, or is this a wrap? So I'd like to hear your thoughts, Coach Carl.
It's not of if he has or he has, because he has basically a do or die situation for them here on out. So if he knows that he has to score as well to unlock their offense. We've seen the adjustments made on Tyler and Nelson and on Kentavious. So since he's their best player, he's their best one-on-one guy, he has to score. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, they were standing off him and he was reluctant. Back then, he was really, especially in the later days of his Chicago stint, along with Minnesota State. He was shooting those things that they were standing off him. Now he has to dig deep into those times where he would shoot a lot and would take around 4 to 5 threes that they have, especially with Bam being on the floor, that allows that less spaces that they can get on drives. So he has to take advantage of the open space.
Yeah, I think he really does have to shoot a little bit more, just to keep the defense honest. And another big thing in this game was, the contributions of the other players for the Lakers. As Shaquille O'Neal calls them, he calls them the others. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is probably the big story because, the Heat did start out pretty strong, but KCP kind of, kept it close, kept it nip and tuck in the first quarter. Then at the end, he had that corner three from LeBron's pass. And then he also had that very aggressive drive, which I don't really see too often from KCP. Because sometimes he seems content to be a shooter, but as we saw there, he can be so much more. So how big was KCP in this win? So I'll turn it over to you, Dom.
I believe it's not just KCP, it's really as you mentioned, the others of the Lakers. When you see the Lakers, performing well outside of LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're a pretty hard team to beat. Once they're all in sync, they're all coordinated, and there's good team play, they're possibly the best team in the NBA. So, aside from KCP, who played really well this game and stepped up when they needed it, there was good play from everyone else, like Markieff Morris and everyone else. They all did their part. They all did what they needed to do, and the result showed this game.
That is very true because, even though KCP was the star of the game for making those 5 points in the fourth quarter, as I said, you also had Danny Green, who played good defense. He had that big steal that led to his dunk. Markieff Morris has also been very solid. Markieff Morris is one of the hardest people to box out on a free throw for some reason. He just gets into you. Kyle Kuzma made timely shots. And Alex Caruso and Rajon Rondo did a lot of damage without scoring a lot of points. They actually have this uncanny ability to get offensive rebounds from the weak side, which is something that not most guards do. But for the Lakers, they are very thankful that Rondo and Caruso, crash the boards but do it in a smart way. Then you also had Dwight, who played a little bit in the first quarter, then not too much. But when he did play, he played pretty well, except for maybe fouling Jimmy Butler a few times. But it really was a total team effort. And on the Miami Heat side, do you think that they'll shoot better in Game 5? Because they only did shoot around 34%. So, they are a team that is capable of getting hot from three. But the Lakers defense is really keying on the shooters. So I'll go with you, Dom. Do you think that the shooters of the Heat will get on track in Game 5? Or is it just too much defense?
It feels like at this point that's what they have to do, really. Because given that the Lakers are so focused on Jimmy Butler, with the adjustments they made on defense, focusing on Jimmy Butler, it really can't just be all him at this point. So we need to see Tyler Hero, who also had a pretty good game, but we need to see him shoot more consistently. We need to see Duncan Robinson shoot more consistently, and even others. Jay Crowder made some timely shots, so it just needs to be more consistent for Miami. But after this game, I did realize that I appreciate the whole Miami team, the way they're set up. It just seems like they're just a couple pieces away from being a real contender, and I feel like with those couple of pieces, they could actually come back to the finals on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, I think that you could see it as they need more pieces, or they could just grow, because for one, it's Tyler Hero's rookie season. Unless he turns out to be Michael Carter-Williams, he should be improving. Michael Carter-Williams and Tyreke Evans. Sorry for that shot for those two players, but we know that they both had a flash in the pan rookie season. But I think Tyler Hero is not one of them, and he will go on this steady trajectory going up. You also have Duncan Robinson, who does have quite a lot to improve on in his game, but he definitely has that three-point shot. And another thing to look forward to in Game 5, if in case the Lakers do win, who gets Finals MVP. In the first two games, seemed like a foregone conclusion that AD was going to be the guy. But he didn't really play well in Game 3. And he played better in Game 4. But LeBron really was the main focal point in Game 4. So, Coach Carl, do you think that AD still has the Finals MVP, or would it be LeBron's to lose?
Right now, with how they played the first 4 games, as you mentioned, AD controlled games 1 and 2. Meanwhile, LeBron's presence was more felt in games 3 and 4. So if they do win it in 5, I think it will go down to who makes it better in game 5. But for me, it's a draw. It's a toss-up between both LeBron.
I can agree with that, but for me personally, I think this is LeBron's to lose because even though AD played better in game 1 and game 2, it wasn't like LeBron had a bad game, but AD already had a bad game in game 3, so I think that's a knock against him. But quickly, game 5, is it going to be a coronation or are the Heat going to live to see another day? Coach Carl, quick yes or no? Are the Heat extending the series?
As much as I want to give them credit, and I have to give them credit, but this time around, it's a no for me. So I have the Lakers with 5 and getting their 7 on Saturday.
Okay, and Dom, what do you think? Can the Heat extend the series? Yes or no?
I feel there's something about me that feels like Miami could pull this off because they were really close in this game, and yeah, as we mentioned earlier, they could have shot better. So if they do shoot better, which is a high possibility, they could take this game and try to make it a series.
Okay, I see. And for me, I did predict the Lakers in 5, so I'm gonna stick with my guns. But it was also difficult for me because it was kind of which one do I go with more? Do I go with LeBron's history in closeout games, or do I go with the fact that the Miami Heat just really don't give up and are hard to kill and eliminate as well? So I guess we'll see in game 5. So game 5 is Saturday morning here in the Philippines or Friday night in the US. There is a 2-game break, and I think that'll benefit the Lakers a little bit more since they are the older team. So we'll see you guys soon, and after that we will give our reactions. We never know, it might be a last final reaction for the season, or we could be looking ahead to game 6 if that's what indeed happens. So thank you, Coach Carl, and thank you, Dom. And if you like the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. It would help us out a lot. Here at Sneaks and Ball, PH.